Yes, sir. What have we here? Jewish people, white people, black people, Asian people. This is the topic. One room. How do we discuss equality? What is good, people? It's your boy, the Kicks God, with the team. I got the team with me, LD team. Gentlemen, introduce yourself.
My name is Ramon.
And I am your boy, Snow.
Back at it like a motherfucking crack addict. No, I'm not stealing that from that dude, Tony. Shout out Tony D2 Wild. Shout out Tony D2 Wild. A lot of people don't like him. My wife hates him. She hates his videos. But I'm like, yo, dude is cool. But I know you've seen maybe one or two, Ramon, of his videos, Tony D2 Wild.
I have to Google whoever the fuck that is.
Okay. He doesn't know. Now I've shown you one or two of his videos.
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, he's pretty good. He does his thing. How are you guys? First and foremost,
All is well.
Chilling, like a villain.
Still experiencing some tech difficulties. Are you squared away?
I don't even want to talk about it, son. It's still. I got another issue now. Now that I fixed the one issue, I acquired a new one, son.
As is life, sir. As is life.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
it's not my day today, son.
Yeah, nah. It's especially when it comes to technology, son.
What
You
Kendrick
fix
said?
one thing.
Exactly.
Like
what Kendrick said, we gonna be all right.
We gonna be all right, son. But like real talk, tech, and I know it's kind of sort of techy, but when it comes to troubleshooting sound, like equipment or studio equipment, home studio equipment, home theater equipment, son, when something is wrong, it is like just to troubleshoot. It's not to fix. To troubleshoot is mountains of issues. Like you have to literally unplug everything.
Square one.
Reintroduce those plugs and listen for the issue. Okay, that's where the issue is. Or play something, hook up speakers. That speaker isn't playing. That's the issue. I used to sit with my dad back in the day, and he would be setting, because he had the whole gamut. He had block party shit, and he would, like, one of his, let's say, his folded horns.
We in his
like
season right now. Then it's August. This is where the block parties get really great.
Oh yeah. Kingston Avenue block parties is a thing. If you guys don't know, watching or listening, trust and believe. Yes, block parties was a thing back in the 80s and the 70s on Kingston Avenue, which leads me to another topic. You can now get a visual, not just an audio, of this podcast. We will now be featuring the video on YouTube. You can also check us out on all other DSPs. You know what they are: the oranges, the who else does? What is that green one? I don't know.
Spotify.
Oh yeah, Spotify. Them too.
Fucking Apple fanboy.
For sure.
Put respect on Spotify's name, number one. Number two, you YouTube people are on thin ice with me. Ramon's going through a lot of trouble to get this video. I personally am against it.
He doesn't
so
want
up
to.
On y'all. It's
he doesn't
on y'all.
want to.
If I don't see the engagement, I'm glad we're doing this at the beginning of the show.
For sure.
If I don't see the engagement, I will cancel this whole channel.
Crosshairs.
On the video.
Crosshairs, B. Crosshairs.
I have the power to cancel the channel.
Yeah, he does.
Shout out to all the audio listeners and everybody who on YouTube who was already listening to us.
For
whether
sure.
It was video or not.
For sure,
David
for sure.
Lee. Shout out to David Lee, goddamn.
Actually, yeah, big shout out to David Lee.
For sure. Also, if you are interested in not digesting the entire podcast. You can also watch the Partition podcast. So what does that mean? If we're talking sneakers, you can find it on the sneaker channel. If we're talking tech, you can find it on the tech channel. So we're definitely, we're trying to make it easy for you guys. And for all of you who just want to pig out, like straight up, go into the.
Hold on, fam. You know what was easy?
What was easy?
When we record it and upload it to all the DSPs so they can enjoy it.
You got a
that
point
was
there.
easy. It's not easy now.
But
we did the hard run before, so we back at doing the hard run again.
We definitely
better
are.
See the numbers. That's all I'm saying.
Engagement. You know how you talk.
I want to see the numbers.
You know how the governor was saying, test for COVID. Engagement. I am Governor Kick Scott right now. So, we got that out the way. Listen, gentlemen, we talking.
Subscribe on YouTube.
Subscribe, all of that. Hit the subscribe button everywhere you go. Make sure you follow this everywhere you go on all DSPs, everywhere. YouTube, everywhere. Moving forward. Gentlemen, what is the first thing that comes to your mind when you observe a room that consists of 20 people, 5 white people, 5 Jewish people, 5 black people, and 5 Asian people? What comes to, listen, because it doesn't have to be it doesn't have to be specific to the times that we're in. It can be something funny. It could be something.
Fuck you, man. I need some context. Where you come up with this shit from?
No. I want to know what room is this, because why am
this room
there?
does not exist. That's the first thing I want.
Oh, well, wait. We can't say it.
Did I show up to a party?
We can't
Who's
say
the party
it
for?
We can't say it doesn't exist. Pretend, hey, maybe you're in a meeting at.
All right, it's a hypothetical. Gotcha.
It's a hypothetical. You could be at a meeting. You could be at a job in a
related,
job forum.
If it's something work related, I don't care who's in the room.
As you should, because the most important person in that room would be you. However, because my brain works how it works, I had to pose this question. And this was a question that spun out from another topic that I was actually having a conversation. Me and my wife have these really great conversations about the dynamic of people. Be they Jewish, be they black, be they white, be they anything. We live in an Asian community, so that's why I threw Asians in the equation, because now we live there and we intermingle and interact with Asians currently. So, that's why they are there. However, I've lived in technically this would be the most this community would have the highest number of white people in this community, and then I lived in a Jewish community in Crown Heights, and I live with black people. So in every community, there has been a different aspect of that group that I either liked or disliked.
Okay.
And I'm sure you're dying to hear what I have to say about all of them. However, when you walk into a room and these different cultures are in this room, 5 apiece, what comes to mind?
The fuck going on here? Like, again, if we're not in a work environment, I need to understand.
All right, well, pretend
what's going on here.
Pretend you're on you're shooting for this job. And
that's what I'm saying. Anything dealing with work and employment, I don't care who's in this room. If it's
why
a
don't
mixer,
you care? Okay.
Because if it's something,
business has no place for
that.
Identifying.
I disagree.
I've worked hard to be a professional and to be able to mingle with whoever in that type of
Mm-hmm.
environment.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Plus, I'm in general just a social person.
Mm-hmm.
If someone doesn't get that off the first impression, I'm either having an off day. That day in particular, I'll probably warm up a little later once I get on my feelings, or I just
Okay.
happen to just not be on my rocker that day, and I'm entitled to that, like anybody else. You see
As you should.
electronics around here acting like they don't want to work today because it's, you know what I mean? But I can't get too upset because any other time it just works. So it's a bad day, and I'm just upset that it's not working to what I know it to, right? So
Okay.
when I show up to an event that's work related, if we're there for a common goal, that's the common goal. If it's a competition thing, then it's competition. Everybody on that table is food. Everyone on the table is food. Now, I will say this.
Got you.
I'm least likely to go at another black person's throat, right? Because for
Okay.
some reason, and that trigger seems to always look like that's the show that people want to see. And they just want to see that because, like, okay, well, whatever they do, it doesn't matter. We're going to get rid of all 6 of them because I would be the 6th black person, right?
Right.
So I'm least likely to do that unless I'm being challenged and the gloves comes off. That's different. But I'm least likely to do it to them out the gate.
Okay.
So if it's a work environment, it's very hard for me to answer that question. I need another context, something that's gonna give you, because else I'm first off the back, I'm gonna look at the black people.
Okay. Pause, and I'm gonna roll with that. So, the idea that I gave was pretend it's a workshop or what they call those things when you're applying for a position, and let's say it's a waiting area.
Okay.
The employer has this 20 group of people, this group of people numbering at 20, waiting in a waiting area, and you walk into this room. So you've already identified where your allegiance is. You're not going at the black people.
I ain't get that far.
No. I wouldn't get that far. What I acknowledge, and in this type of situation that you're setting up, I'm walking into a room and we're all going for the job.
Right.
The first thing that's going to happen, and it's happened to me before, not with these extreme numbers, is I'm going to look at the black people in the room.
All right.
I'm going to give them the nod, as we do.
Right.
And I'm going to go sit where I sit. Even if we're all sitting in different areas, I'm going to acknowledge every black person in the room with the nod to let them know that I see them, and let's get it.
Okay. So you're saying you're going to sit with the black people?
No. If we're wherever we're sitting at is where I'm sitting at. You get what I'm saying? Like if we're going into a room and they all sitting together, that just looks weird, right? Right. That just looks weird. Now,
but if they're spread out,
I'm going to acknowledge every one of them,
right?
Clockwise or counterclockwise, whatever way the room is, I'm gonna go against the grain, and I'm gonna acknowledge every one of them and sit my ass down wherever I see a seat available, regardless who is next to.
And if a topic in that room were to be raised, let's say you guys are just casually conversing amongst everyone.
Okay.
Do you feel like, you know what? I'm going to bypass that question. I'm going to make it more personal.
Okay.
I believe that, and I direct this at both of you guys, and me and myself. Everyone on this podcast is very intelligent. We have attained or acquired our knowledge and our understanding of things in our specific fields, whether it be college, whether it be high school only, and through life experience, or a collection or collective of both, or of all of these things. So now, I'm bringing you back into this room, and now I'm going to throw a variable into it. I'm the employer, and I'm starting a business, not a Pepsi, not a soda business. And
Pepsi's trash.
I disagree.
Whatever, fam. Whatever.
So I'm starting a business, and I am I am looking for the best candidate. Now, what the best candidate means to me, you don't know. However, if you're sitting in that room, then in some way, shape, or form, you qualify. You're in this room now. How do you, what is your approach to the dynamic of the room based on these factors, these known factors? And to give you a little bit more to work with, I'm starting a clothing line. And all of these people qualify. That would include you.
I mean,
Go ahead.
If I'm pulling up in any establishment, I'm assuming I'm being watched 20 minutes before I even get there. If I'm driving up, right? Because you never know who you rubbing shoulders with, even in the subway. You could be riding across the train from somebody. You just don't know.
Right.
So I'm already assuming I'm being watched, right? Especially when you get in the door, I'm put in this room, I'm assuming I'm being watched. So that's not a big deal.
Right.
If the thing in this room is meant to be some kind of elimination process, I would probably fail there because I'm not engaging with any conversation about what we're doing off of just here. Like if somebody want to talk to me about something that they may have been able to read, or they're just trying to be chatty and chummy, we could do that. I'm a conversationalist, but I'm not spitting off any bars in an open room. Just not. And if that loses me opportunity, then so be it. But I'm not rattling off any bars in no open room with no one there to actively facilitate that. I don't know what we're here for in terms of in that room, in that environment.
You're here for a job, just like everybody else.
No, not that part. I know that's established. I'm talking about, I don't know what we're here in this room stacked together like this for. That's unusual or not. It does happen, but in my field, it doesn't happen that often. Regardless if it's on my marketing side or my content side, never on my design side.
Right. Got you.
It's never happened. The only time I've been crowdsourced, interviewed, had to deal with some other stuff. You get what I'm saying? Where pretty much everybody that was there had the job anyway. They just wanted to see how we interacted with each other because we would be working with each other regardless. You get what I'm saying? And that part is what I'm saying. We're going to have a casual conversation. I'm not rattling off any bars in case that is not what the situation ends up being. If I don't give the next person anything to talk against me or to talk up as if that's their information, I'm not awarding you anything. So already I'm in a confident competition state when I was applying to the job or whatever the case may be, and to find out that I'm going to be sitting in a room with 20 of these other mofos for the same position.
Right.
That energy is still the same. I'm not going to be standoffish or anything like that, but it's game time. Take your pick. Game time.
Okay. Pause. Ramon, same situation. What is your position in this room? Whatever comes to mind. You're looking for a position with my company. This is in the room in front of you. What is your feeling? What goes through your head? How do you feel about your position in this room, going for what your specific intended purpose is, and that is to get a job with me? Go.
Off the rip, I think it's a place I want to work at.
Okay.
Because there's a fair bit of diversity in the room.
Okay. Well, maybe I'm looking for one person. That's not something
you see. I mean, that's fine. But that's always going to be.
I'm extending it to.
But the fact that I can see so many different people represented, I think, I could assume that the culture of the place, for better or worse, is also the same. And I think that's an ideal situation for someone of color.
Okay.
To not be, because the reality is, wherever I go, I'm one of one.
Right.
And to inherently not be outnumbered is already a good sign for me. It's a place. And I'm not looking at it from a competition standpoint because I am who the fuck I say I am. So I don't care if there was 50 black people, 2 white, 2 like I'm going to get this anyway.
Right.
But I feel comfortable to know that there's inclusion here.
Okay.
That's how my preferred world would look like. So I can't really, because I competition doesn't have a color or culture or a gender to me.
Right.
You competition, you got to go. I got to get there. So it don't matter to me. But I appreciate you trying to set me the fuck up. Because I would snow, because I step into anything that looks like that. The fuck is going on here?
Exactly.
That's my first, like, and it doesn't have to be a negative thing.
Yeah,
Right.
it's not. I know
I'm just like,
I'm getting in the
what?
zone. I might sound a little hostile right now, but like, it don't always have to be a negative thing. Again,
That's some shit I just never seen.
It's about the scenario of what the setup is. If
Right.
I walk into something like that, the part that I omitted is exactly what Ramon said, which is there's inclusion here. But I'm assuming that we're all going for the same job, so I do not care about the inclusion in this room.
It's
Right.
all about
all you care about is getting this job.
Right. And got you. So I'm gonna pause the topic there, and I'm gonna go back to I'm gonna touch on a conversation that I had with my wife. So the conversation that was as such, in the state of in the current state or the current time, there is a lot of this inclusion. I don't want to say solely that is based on a particular person or persons running said business that feels like, oh, I think Jewish people and black people and Asian people, we need that in this company. I don't think that some of these Fortune 500 companies or some of these businesses are thinking like that. I think that some of them may be thinking like that, but I think the vast majority of these businesses or these companies don't think like that. I feel like they think, if I don't hire at least one of each one of these cultures, I'm in trouble.
I don't think they think that. It's the law.
Absolutely. But it's good that you said that. Once upon a time, this is all in the conversation of what me and my wife were talking about. As I told you, we have these type of conversations. Once upon a time, and I am the person running this business, whatever business this might be, there would be 3 white people hired, 1 Asian hired, and 1 Jewish person hired. Mind you.
What's wrong with that?
No. Hear what I'm saying. Mind you, 3 out of the 5 black people were better qualified to work that job.
That's not the only criteria for
nailing
the job.
I said qualified, which means
you're right.
Which means
you didn't say better qualified. You're right.
The 3 black people, I'm not going to say all of the black people were qualified, but 3 black people were qualified for this job. So you have 3 black people, you have 1 Asian, 1 Jew, and 3 white people. none of the black people would have gotten that position.
It's possible.
And this, no. Now it's possible. Before, it was a fact. These jobs.
How far back you going?
I'm going early 80s, mid 80s, late 80s, early 90s, 70s, 60s, so on and so forth. This was a thing where, and I was trying to get her to understand. I said, it's like her argument was it's not like that anymore. I said, can you prove it?
It's not though, but I understand. You got to remember, your wife and I share this in common. We're in management,
right?
So there are things on the other side that matters as well, right? There's things like a good fit. There's things like, believe it or not, a person's extracurricular activities outside of his job. There are things about what makes you a person.
Pause. I'm gonna take one of the points that you made. A good fit. What does that look like?
A good fit means if I have an accounting department, I'm probably hiring Asian people.
Is that,
and I'm probably hiring Asian women. Because culturally, they do as they're told and they work till they drop. Just like when you want to drywall in your house, you're probably hiring Mexicans. And if you want your cotton picked, you're probably hiring black people.
Absolutely. So we have now in this one conversation, we've now included stereotypes, because of all other cultures, we know that in financing, the Asian will excel. So that made them a good fit. However, I wasn't talking about good fits. I was talking about qualified. So what does qualified mean? We first must we must dive into that. That means that of all those people, everyone is qualified for the job. Now, what makes a fit, in my opinion, isn't who functions better with something they're already qualified to do. I think a fit is you got a Jewish person who only speaks Yiddish and English. Well, 80% of the people who will be working, we will be servicing, speaks English. 5% speaks Yiddish. Okay. White people. Oh, there's a couple of bilingual white people. The most they speak is Spanish. All right. But they're white. Asians. Well, Asians are good with money, but that's not exactly what I'm looking for. This one speaks English, but there's somewhat of a language barrier. They speak more fluently Asian languages. Okay. Black person speaks 3 languages, is well-traveled, knows Italian culture, European culture, basically, African culture, Jewish, Israeli culture, as well as the culture that they live in this particular country. Okay? Who is the better fit for this position?
So you're throwing variables in there. You're trying to make the black person better qualified.
No, I'm trying to make them a better fit. They're already qualified.
So qualifications is an overarching baseline.
Have we made it that now? Or has society made it that now?
It's always been.
I would say one thing to anybody that's out here listening to this shit.
Right.
If you fucking invite me to a 20 and I'm 21 meeting, and I'm hearing the bullshit that's coming from both of these motherfuckers, my counterparts, don't invite me to that shit. Because
Why?
if it's an accountant position and I'm qualified to get in the door and it's going to go to some person that's Asian, because we're not even going to get into which Asian it is, right? We're going to get
Gotcha.
into someone's Asian because that's the stereotypical thing. I don't want to be included in that because you're wasting my time.
I
Right.
agree.
So the scenario is too ambiguous.
It's meant to be. Carry
And
on.
it's very ambiguous coming from both sides of the fence, the employee and the employer.
I do not want to be included in it. Bro, based on what y'all said, if there's any employer out there, I pray to God, I better never, ever, 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 that shit better never come to the light. Because
But these are the conversations that's happening behind.
I know, and that's what I'm saying.
And these are real scenarios.
Because the most important thing in this world is time, fam. And if I'm gonna get invited out to this scenario here, and then we throw in Ramon's part for someone Asian being hired as the accountant, which someone listening can be like, well, no, that's the Jewish people, and then someone else could say, no, get this person. Like if that's what it is, leave me off that list. Do not contact me. I don't have time nor the money. I'm not broke. I'm saying I don't have the time or the money to come be in your pit of, hey, look what we're doing, if that's where you're going to come down to anyway for this position.
Gotcha.
Someone's race, culture, creed, whatever the case may be. Don't even hire me. Don't even look at me. Because to one of you said it, who can prove it, right? So being that it cannot be proved, why not just not bring me in? Just don't bring me in.
Okay.
That is a waste of. You said 555 and everybody, right? If it's for the accountant thing, that is a waste of 16 people job. I mean time.
To your wife's point, it is better. Is it where it's supposed to be? No.
I agree with that.
But it is better. And
it's a lot better.
I am your living proof of that.
Mm-hmm.
You guys have hung out with my coworkers.
Right.
Various points in times. Different, like, I'm one of one.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I mean? And I've seen some of me come through for interviews and just not get the position. But I've also been privy to the culture inside and why they didn't get those positions.
Right.
Now you're talking about fit.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not about, it's, you're dealing with different cultures and personalities. So it's about, a manager is always going to hire someone that's a fit for their management style in their department.
Mm-hmm.
So now you're down to a manager who likes to, when I say go, you go. Don't ask me which direction, just go. And then there's managers that's like, if I ask you to go, I expect you to come back and say, okay, well, before I go, which direction should I go? How far am I going? Is there any room to talk about why I'm going? And these things matter for what determines qualifications.
Right.
Because we're all qualified to go.
Right.
How we get there, when we get there, how we arrive there, it all varies.
Okay.
What is the manager looking for? What is the company looking for, right? And then there's a realization that despite a company's, you see these things on the news, such and such company is getting sued for X, Y, and Z. Right. And this C-level executive is locked the fuck up. And what do you always hear? I had no idea that was going on. It happens. It's true. Mm-hmm. This company could be doing amazing things for most of the people, right? And this is a numbers game. There's always that percentage of people who've been getting done the worst. Right? We all do it. Right. Life is sweet when it's sweet, but the worst of the worst, Jesus fucking Christ, you'll never tell anybody about that. So it's a very, you got to come back with specific scenarios. It's a very ambiguous thing that could go left or right.
I've worked for 3 companies that I would have never applied for. Right? One of them is at the tail end of the 90s, early 2000s.
Mm-hmm.
One of them I did pretty much the last half of the 10s, and one is currently. I would have never applied to these positions. You know what happened? All 3 of these told me that it changed because they reached out to me.
Mm-hmm.
whether it was through a temp agency or whatever, they reached out to me. I did not apply. You get what I'm saying? So that just alone just tells me that the game has changed. It's switched up big time.
Right.
Things have gotten a lot better. You get what I'm saying? Even startups, right? Because one of them I work for was a startup. The other one is a big corporation. And one of them was a family-owned business that became a corporation.
Right.
And, fam, where I'm at, when you look at me in all those companies, one of them, of course, you can't sell that type of merchandise and not have us in the building. However, we've seen what that looked like through history. That's documented through movies, what that looked like. There's no way around that, right? And yes, we do have some successful faces, but all of us can name those people who were successful in that business. What about the other guys? You get what I'm saying? Other than that, everyone's going through R&U records. I don't want to say the R word. You know what I'm saying? So it's like times have definitely changed, especially in the field that I am, because it's very easy to say, "Oh, nah, go get this little skinny white girl that show up and do this work." Not only, and this is for the middle job, not only did that not happen, there were two of me. There was two of me there. And they had to figure out which one of us to keep. You know what I'm saying? It was...
My bad, so good.
I was saying, like, and very easily, one of us could have been a skinny white girl. Short. Very easily.
Okay.
It is important. It's important to know, if you subscribe to the notion that you are a minority, then you have to swallow the pill that you will be a minority wherever you go.
Right.
Which is easy for us.
Now, what we're fighting for is the energy that we're met with as a minority. So once you remove that energy, that discrimination, that racism, whatever you want to call it, I think the politically correct term is discrimination in the workplace.
Right.
Because that applies to not only race, but culture and gender. When you remove that, you still got to deal with the fact that you are a minority, and the numbers say there will be less of you here. That's just a fact. So at what point can you prove that it is a numbers game versus a discrimination game? And I think there are laws in place. There is, you see everybody bending the knee to Black Lives Matter from companies, whether it's lip service or not, it's there.
Right.
Things are different. We can have a conversation all day about if it's where it needs to be or is it changing fast enough, but things have changed.
I agree. First and foremost, I agree with everything.
We are more educated as a minority. So we got the call to be in the room for the interview.
Absolutely. Which is very important. So why I listen, it was a conversation that I had with my wife, so you might hear me several times harken back to the conversation that I had with my wife. It's posed to you guys. It's meant to be ambiguous. It's meant to spread your thinking along different realms. Now, Ramon, you were born in the 80s. Snow, you were born in the 80s. Snow may have a little bit more knowledge about what was going on here. Ramon, you moved here, and you may not have been as privy as Snow or I when it comes to
how shit was
in the workplace.
Yeah, I didn't give you any pushback.
I had to wear shoulder pad suits. Shout out to y'all.
And and what we know now is what we know now. That's how we know what was going on in the workplace, what have you. But again, back to the conversation, was what I tried to get across to her was, yes, times are different now because they're different. However, there are still lots of groups of people that have that run these businesses and have ran these businesses for years that pull from their family or family friends and friends of friends of friends that they know. It can be like this. It can be a tightly knit ran business, not necessarily because this person went to Spelman or that person went to whatever high notable school, Hofstra, what have you. They're pulling from these people.
You subscribe? You take issue with that?
Yeah.
Why?
I have a bit of an issue with pulling from a safe place, because that's what you believe is safe when it comes to culture, because what it does is it zeroes out any other culture, any Jewish person, any Asian person, any black person, when it comes to, and this is if it's a white owned business. I don't agree with it when it's a black owned business.
That's my point. Because when you talk black owned business, it's the other end of it.
Yep.
Because God forbid a white man shows up and gets on Twitter and complains he didn't get hired at a black owned. What are you going to say to him? Go fuck yourself.
When it comes to businesses, because I am a practicer. This is something that I was going to get into, and that's equal employment opportunity, or the EEO officer for my specific job, which is all good with the demographic that showed up for this particular job in this scenario, until I started to fish out who I wanted because of they're good with math,
right?
Or they're good with in the law issue, which is usually specific to Jewish people. Oh, I know I can hire him because he should be good with law, and I know he got a bunch of people that are good with law. Well, that's a fucking load of crock of bullshit. It's bullshit because that shouldn't be the criteria of be working for this job. It's
the criteria is different, Tawann. The criteria is only one piece of the puzzle. Do you buy your sneakers based on the fact that they're your shoe size?
It's part of it.
All right, then.
It's part of it.
All right, then. And the only criteria for a shoe is if it fits your foot or not. Right?
Yeah.
So then why do you give a fuck? Why are you paying extra because it comes in blue or red or leather?
Well, but that's the thing. I don't.
Yes, you do. Motherfucker, look behind you.
Yeah, I subscribe to what I like. And because there is nobody governing what I so choose to buy, I am allowed to buy Adidas over there, Jordans over there, or Nikes over there.
Now, how would you feel if somebody comes in your closet and says, I don't see enough Pumas in here? Get to it.
Then because my Pumas don't wake up at 8 a.m. and travel to a job to say, hey, I'm here to do a job. Will you hire me? He got to tell him to get the fuck out my house. However, because we're talking real people, and I think we need to say it as such. We're talking real people who get up and try. They've gone to college, they've graduated, they've done all the things that make them qualified to do a position. I don't want to start getting into fit, because fit is ambiguous. However,
no, fit is relative.
It is relative, but it's a relatively ambiguous way of looking at things.
No,
because you want to know why? I may be fit I may be a fit in 4 or 5 criterias. And then there's somebody that's a fit in 5 criterias. Well, who you taking? The one with the fit of 5 criteria.
No, that's what I'm trying to tell you. Not always. Not always.
Bruh.
Not always.
Then I
So
would
let me paint the picture for you. And this is part of diversity. This is part of reality.
Yeah.
There's a real chance that I already have a black person that works in my department and does well.
Right.
So when I'm a hiring manager, I'm looking to continue the culture in my department.
Right.
You understand what I mean? Everyone here in this interview room is here because they can do the job.
Right.
Right? But now I got to worry about, what are you saying in the subway on your way to the train station after work on your phone? I need to worry about that. What are you talking about in the kitchen by the water cooler? I need to worry about that.
Okay.
It's a very complex thing. It's not as simple as you can do the job. I saw the resume. I know you can. Everyone here can do the job.
Okay.
But it's so much more than that has to be accounted for. And to drive home the main issue with what I think you're missing here is, I don't give a fuck about your qualifications. You go through what you go through, get up at 8 in the morning, 6 in the morning, you go to Spelman, you go to whatever the fuck school you go to for an opportunity. You are not entitled to fuck all in this world.
Absolutely. And I don't think I threw that into the equation. Only qualified.
Once you understand,
right,
that qualification only gets you to this interview room, then whatever happens here fucking happens, fam.
Listen, I'm going to take it a step forward. Your qualifications only gets you a response. So you have a list of qualifications that fit the criteria of the job that I'm putting out there for people to be hired. However, I need to I'm going to, hey, you appear. That's what they say now in this digital age where they're listening and reading your Facebook comments, reading your Twitter comments, listening to, calling your references, your job references, to find out what you were saying at the water cooler, because they won't know it at the initial interview. That's why I said this is the initial interview. All right. Qualifications. Nothing about what I said. Well, now it does. Nothing about what I say at the water cooler matters. What I said on Facebook matters, because now when I'm using my references or using my ability to find out everything about you, oh shit, you said Black Lives Matter is a whole bunch of bullshit. Now I got to call you into my interview and interview again and find out exactly what did you mean by Black Lives Matters is a whole bunch of bullshit. So that is when I say qualifications get you through the door. It gets you through the door. What you do when you work here, or what, let's say your Facebook and your Twitter feed and your Instagram feed is squeaky clean. Everyone here is, as it should be. Because you should be, in this digital age, careful about what you put on social media. So now we're here. Everybody's slate is the same. Qualifications. What have you done? What do you know? What are you able to do? I want to know this. And if there is a integrity issue at my job, at this job that you're working, if there's an integrity issue, what are you going to do about it? And when the time comes, are you going to stay silent? Or are you going to contact me? Or are you going to contact those? Or are you going to let them know, hey, listen, don't do that, because if I see it, I have to act. I have to act on it. Make a decision. So what I mean when I say what I say, all of these people may present different ways of going about doing everything that I just brought about. However, before all of that, which is the moral of the conversation or the story that I had with my wife, was once upon a time, black people they never made it, they never got that call back because Asians and Jews were less of a threat to white people. And this is now so late in the game. We have gotten to this point where we are accepted, but we're still a threat. And that is the problem. That is what white America sees the black man as, a threat to your economy, a threat to your sociological living conditions, a threat to your family, whether they believe it's a violent threat or the mere fact that your daughter might just be in love with a black person. That is still considered a threat. Can we speak to this?
I think you're all over the place here. Number one, it absolutely matters what people have or they say at the water cooler.
It does.
Because I've been in situations where
I don't know that here. I don't know what you say at the water cooler here. I have to find that out.
I'm sorry. So you made a comment that you have to find out.
Right.
And water cooler talk is very indicative of people's true abilities. Mm-hmm. Because I've been, I've been involved in these conversations, and you start to see it clear as day. Yeah, they want me to do all this, blah, 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 like, and why is this one getting put? I mean, this one's getting paid more than you because they may not be technically as good as their job, but also they're doing more than they were asked to do. Mm-hmm. To me, that's more important than somebody who does 100% of what they're doing. Your interest in taking on more work and understanding more about the business and your career is more important than what your qualifications say you can do.
Got it.
So that's number one. Number two, I don't discredit what you're saying about how black people and other minorities are seen as threats in this world. Absolutely. But that all goes under progression for me. You're still in the interview room.
Yeah.
You still got a chance to take your shot. And it is a very real reality that you could be taking your shot at a basketball court that don't want you here.
Yeah,
you know that. You know that exists. Mm-hmm. So in the 90s, whatever the fuck was going on, in the 80s, whatever that was, you wasn't even getting there.
For sure.
But now you are. And it's all about how you sell yourself. And then maybe that part's out of your hands because these motherfuckers just prefer to hire who they want to hire for. And that's cool. And I say that's cool because by your logic, your concept, all Jamaican restaurants should be burned to the fucking ground because no one that works at a Jamaican restaurant is qualified to work there. They don't have the basics of customer care, but they have the job because they were black.
You're 1,000% right.
There's 1,000,000% of that in our world. So how dare us turn around and complain about it? And if you think this is so choosed, and if you are indeed qualified and you are indeed adequate to do what you need to do, then start your own fucking business. And I say that very underhandedly, right? That shit ain't easy either.
For sure.
But there are ways to go about that. And this is just our reality. And I'll always go back to the minority thing. Fam, we're a minority. We are a minority. And if we go to South Africa, this conversation could possibly be flipped.
It sure could.
Which is why people loathe listening to white South African people talk. Because they sound like us.
Yeah, they do.
They sound exactly, oh, these motherfuckers, you know what I mean? Like, shut the fuck up. So if you tell them shut the fuck up over there, then somebody over here reserves the right to tell us to shut the fuck up. The only difference is the government over there is like, whatever, motherfucker. You got that cocaine I need? You got those AK-47s?
And
over here, the government's like, yeah, whatever, motherfucker, but you better let them get in that interview room and talk their shit. So I see your side of it. I don't want to minimize it. but
absolutely.
It's not as dire as it once was, and it's not as dire as you think it is.
It's not.
And it's not as good as I think it is.
It's you. I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what I think it is. Know anything before I go off on a mini rant?
I've been done with this conversation.
Good. I think that it's. I think it's still present. It's just not as pronounced. I think America. That's only because I live here. I think America is struggling to do better, wants to do better, but there's so many businesses still tied to 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago.
But you do understand that change is, one, difficult, and two, takes time.
It does.
Within a 20-year span, there is progress.
It is.
And they'll continue to be. But for us on the side of the disenfranchised,
right,
we need to understand that it'll never not be a struggle. Because if you remove our slight, our fight, our issues, there's other white people out there fighting against other white people to get this job too. There was 5 other white people in this room.
For sure. And that's why I set it up like that. Yep.
Even if they called in only 5 white people, each of these white people are going to have their own fucking, God damn it, I went to school for this and I did that and I'm over here struggling with this motherfucker. His uncle knows this one. And like,
and I'm pretty.
It's never not going to be right. And then you got the whole woman shit. Son, if I was a woman, I'd love to be able to get in these conversations because the first thing I'm doing is I'm pulling out my titties at the interview. Is that what's going to get me the job? I'm in there. And for some women, the reality is they do get ahead because of that. And then they get in there and, you pay attention to what you had to do to get this job because you get in there and then your boss is like, hey, honey, what you doing on Thursday? What?
EEO.
So there's this. Listen, I understand.
Listen, I hate that this conversation went as long as it did. It's something to get our wheels turning. It's just something to really, really, in this climate, I feel like us as Black people are still trying to equalize the playing field. And as much as we are relevant, I struggle to feel like we are equal.
Can I that's the problem.
And which one is more important,
Equality does not exist. We should not be striving for equality. We should be striving for opportunity and success. Nothing will ever be equal. Fucking nothing. Mm-hmm. And to ask for an equal playing field is just not doable. It's just not. It's not realistic. So if equality is your goal, you will always fall short.
Does that analogy set us, limit us? Does that analogy limit us or limit where we should be?
No.
Okay.
Inclusion is the game.
Okay.
I'll tell you what. How many out of all the Black people you know in your life, how many of them are IT professionals?
There's a few of them.
Give me a number.
From early up until now, there were IT professions in the 80s when it was a gentleman. His name was Sheldon.
No, I don't want specifics. Just give me a number. How many of them you know?
If I personally knew 500 Black people, just throwing out a number, I'd say anywhere to a little over a quarter, maybe close to a quarter of them were in some way, shape, or form of IT.
So you're talking 150 people. 150 people
out of 500
compared to a profession that 125. Mm-hmm. Compared to a profession that employs 1.2 1.5 million people across the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a little more. Huh? Maybe a little more.
Right.
How dare those people ask me for equality? It ain't enough of you motherfuckers that went to school for this. That's just dumb. But the goal is, if you went to school for this, you better get a job. That's inclusion.
Yeah, from a financial standpoint, from a I have a family to raise standpoint, from a I have a mom that's sick standpoint, I need the job.
You'll get a job. And you'll get a job.
For sure. From a qualification standpoint, from a I am just as good as everyone else in this room standpoint, if not better, because I have other subset qualifications that I might not have noted on this, what do you call it? So now
you see how you're missing the point. So even if they are better qualified, yes, sure, all 150 you get the job you went for.
Right.
You'll still never get equality because it's just not enough of you. And we as black people are minorities. So even if all of us, everybody woke up today and decided to be engineers as black people, guess what?
Not enough.
There's not going to be enough black nurses. This is bullshit.
Whoa.
All the nurses are Asian. Well, my man, all the black people are engineers. So what are you complaining about?
Well, to your point about equality. We minorities, when you say minorities, that encompasses more than just black people, encompasses brown people.
He's talking about just us.
I'm talking about black people.
Listen.
So
what's been
just
going on
us.
for the last 10 years, people have been trying to include everybody else. No, when we're talking about it, we're talking about just us. We're not including nobody else.
Say less. So black people, we don't outnumber white people in America.
Mm-hmm.
However, black people in New York City, we outnumber white people.
So you're saying in your profession, you want equality? In your job right now, what you're doing, you're telling me you want equality in all the IT jobs in New York?
No, I want equality, period.
You can't have it.
Listen, no. I don't want 50 black people. I don't want a job where of 500 where it's 125 black people, 125 Jewish people, 125 white people. No, I want equality when there is this ratio of people coming for this job. You're not looking at black people as less than. That's what I want, because that
not
is
equality,
not equality.
though.
What
is your definition of equality?
To be equal. Equality is to be
equal in what?
Equal.
No, you
whatever
can't.
that might be. Listen,
You
I think
the conversation is being changed, like EOE, the equal opportunity thing, or just the equality between colors. We're mixing what we're talking about. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
I get what you're going with that, and what Ramon is talking about is different.
Well,
it's just a water oil situation.
Right.
You know,
that's why it's called equal. What is it? I'm sorry.
Equal opportunity. Opportunity.
That's why it's called opportunity, not equal equality. That's why
it's equal employment opportunity because we all have the same opportunities. All right. However, when you infringe upon a person's gender, race, color, creed, religion, nationality, when you infringe upon those, also when you
that's discrimination.
It is, but it falls under equal employment opportunity.
Opportunity. You keep saying opportunity.
But that's what it is, because we all have the opportunity to perform. in this one job. And infringing upon one's ability to perform the job is a violation of equal employment opportunity. So,
but that was not the scenario you laid forth.
Right. However,
these people are in the interview room, so we're past that.
Right. No. We aren't past it. If I look at the five black people that are qualified to do this job as a threat, as a problematic, as I don't.
Who's telling you they're a threat or a problem?
No. Listen, this is what I did. You have these people in a room. You have just like saying that the hired Asian because they're mathematically inclined. That can be a violation today of EEO.
They're Asian. They're a minority. That's pertinent to the dynamic of my department.
No, it
doesn't mean you're a threat. No, because you're not what I'm looking for.
Okay, what if I'm not going to throw that variable into it. We're not basing this on just job. I just used the job scenario, as a springboard. Okay, this is not just about jobs. This is about, when I say equality, this is about everything. This is about you driving your Audi in a community and get stopped by the cops 4 times, where the other members of the community of another culture, the cops simply look past. Now, I'm not against cops, you know that, but I am against the notion that you are up to no good. This is what people, I think, are missing when it comes to BLM, when it comes to equality. When you see me, you don't see a threat. That is, if I look at you, Snow, and you, Ramon, and I'm like, fuck y'all. Y'all, because y'all are a problem for something, and that it can be for me. That is not equality.
I understand your point, and I can tell you that you are projecting, because you feel like you're being looked at as a threat, and you're trying to justify that. And I'm not minimizing it. What I'm saying is, me driving my Audi in whatever neighborhood I drive in, I don't feel like a threat.
You don't. But it's not about what you feel, Ramon. It's about what another person perceives. You could be playing your music at a nice tone. You just enjoying the day. Hey, you could be just enjoying the ride. That Bay Parkway, what do you call the highway along that water under the bridge is a beautiful drive. Mm-hmm. But that cop pulled over on the side may see you doing a speed limit and everybody else blowing by and will stop you.
That is a technicality of his purpose. Just like the hiring manager's purpose, it is well within their right to curate the type of energy and culture they want in their department. The cop is going he's going with his purpose. And his purpose says, young black man in expensive car equals drug dealer. But I'm gonna tell you my experience. That's about 80% correct.
Yeah.
Right? Snow, we were just sitting outside the crib. Dude drives by in the Phantom truck. What did I say?
Yeah.
Look at this drug dealing ass motherfucker. Would you agree? Would you not agree?
Would I agree?
No, Snow.
Would I agree?
Did you get that energy like when you saw him? Be like, yeah, all right.
Was he black?
Yes, he was black. Did you think, he's an owner of a successful black business downtown Brooklyn? Is that what you thought?
I didn't think anything of it.
Yeah, that's
my first thought was because remember you lined them up. I saw the vehicle, you saw the driver.
Yep.
Right.
I got this drug dealer ass motherfucker right here.
Right. And I just
this dude was under 30.
Because you could it's easy to say that. Like but at the end of the day, we don't know.
We don't know.
Right.
But my point is,
part of a label.
If I see that and I know me,
and that's even diminishing.
I know me like I know me.
Right.
And I'm like, I've met 1,000 of him before. Some of my mans are still in that. And they don't live too far from me. I get it.
Right.
I get it. I'm not saying it's right, but
Right.
it's not
But that's
also
the thing.
super far-fetched.
It's not. But what I attack and what I have an issue with is not the stereotype. Though if you're driving, it is the stereotype, but it's not the this motherfucker here. You know how much that Bentley Bentayga cost? This motherfucker. What the fuck is he doing? It's not that. It's not that. That's me being cynical. It's that gentleman in that two-piece suit, getting up for work with a briefcase in his hand that just so happens to be black, going to work just like every other culture he is traveling with on that train, that gets singled out by someone, be they white, be they Asian, be they, because Asians don't give a fuck. They single everybody out. Jewish people, they'll sit next to you, but they'll keep their eye on you. Why you gotta keep your eye on me when I look just like you? That is not equality. That is not equality.
I subscribe to your definition of equality now because I feel like it's removed from what we were talking about.
Yeah,
However, as a manager, your disposition assumes that because they're qualified, they can do the job.
Not necessarily. It's person to person.
Now, I've worked in my entire 20 plus year career.
Mm-hmm.
Very few times have I been in a room and I'm not the most grounded and intelligent person.
Mm-hmm.
And my intelligence has nothing to do with my ability to do this job.
Mm-hmm.
My intelligence has to do with all things encumbering.
Right.
Or encompassant. Sorry.
Incumbent.
Yeah. Whatever the fuck. I have been in so many places, so many rooms, so many meetings, so many emails, so many projects where these motherfuckers went to Ivy League schools and they are clearly dumbasses.
Yeah.
Clearly. But I refuse to subscribe to the notion that because the motherfucker who went to an Ivy League school is the same color as me means he will do that job better or worse.
For sure.
So when I say it's more complex, there are things around this. You know what's not? You call it stereotyping. I call it matter of fact. This Asian person, this older Asian woman who's been doing accounting all her life will stay in the office till 9 o'clock at night to get these numbers closed at the end of budget, at the end of monthly closed. She will do it. And I know for a fact that the black person, fuck out of here. I don't get paid for this. They don't even pay me overtime.
For sure.
These motherfuckers tripping. Now, will they be there at 9 o'clock as well? Yes. But the energy is completely different. I don't know anything about the Jewish guy. I don't know. What I know of the white guy is he will be there, but he will feel entitled while he's doing it.
And that is the mindset. However, it's unfortunate that sometimes that is an assumption, because one thing, and I am the other side of the spectrum. I will stay and I'll put 1,000% into the job that I do. However, I am the black person that will be pissed off the entire time, but it'll get done and it'll get done properly.
Okay.
Again, it's just a matter of, it's a matter of fact, but it's also a matter of the person and who we're dealing with. When you hire people who are strong-willed to get the job done, when you hire someone that's mindset is, this is why we talked about empowering women and how I empower my wife, or how I empower different people. When she goes to work, she puts 1,000,000%, not 1,000, not 100, 1,000,000% into her job. However, she she doesn't get it in return, is what I say.
Who does?
You know what? That is a culture that needs to change.
But who does? Who gets it back? And whoever you point out that gets it back, prove it.
Bro, I can't say, I'm not saying, who gets it back. It's a culture that it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who gets it back or not. It has to change.
No, but it does matter because you're telling me that's the equality.
No, I'm telling you, we work in a society where there should be equal pay. It should be, but it's not. But it is. See how that sound? Because to the point that you're making about the person that stays or what have you, they will get paid less than the person that they just fired that did the job better.
Now you're getting into you're throwing variables in there, and I agree with you on that. I am.
And where is the equality? Listen, when I say
that's a whole different animal.
It is. And when I say equality, I don't just mean black and white. I don't just mean Asian and black. I don't just mean this job versus my job or that job. I'm talking about equality. We are so pre-programmed to specifics. Instead of, here's a job, these people can do it, pay them how much it costs to pay them, and that is it, and treat them fairly.
You are oversimplifying it. You have to deal with specifics. There's no way around it. Because
unfortunately,
somebody could show up and be like, yo, you have to live your life good. You have to be a good person. What the fuck is a good person? The good people out there have done the worst.
Yeah.
You don't develop a perspective of what good is until you've done bad.
True. So,
and if you've done bad, are you good? So then you can't just blanket the shit by saying you got to be good. Just like you can't blanket the shit by saying equality. There's very circumstantial things. And to your point, you hire a woman for this fucking job and you don't pay her what she deserves, you got a problem with equality. 1,000% agree. But you can't tell me there's a problem with equality because she's making less than the man you just fired. Because that's how business works.
True.
Because the person that just got fired did a fuck ton of work to move the needle in the foundation. And there may be less work required for that person to do. They don't have to invent the ship. They may just need to come in and keep it running. And I'm paying you less for that.
Mm-hmm.
That's also something that,
it's a whole...
It's a lot.
We ran an hour and 17 minutes on this shit.
We're just going to make this the episode.
For sure. And listen, it's not always going to be like this to the listeners and to the watchers and the readers, and it's, you're not going to see me fuck with my lights. It go from blue to red to, I'm trying to get the right color, whatever. However, I took this moment, and again, I didn't want it to go this far. I took this moment to touch on a topic that I feel is very present today.
It's a conversation that needs to be had.
It needs to be had, and I don't think this is the end of it. I think this will metamorphosize into something that is still very relevant, but very tied in to equality, the idea of equality in your job, your own job. One topic that we had a podcast ago about Nick Cannon and who fired him from his job. In as much money as he made for that company and his worth, he is a creator, his worth to Viacom and to MTV. Where was the equality when they took something he said and ran with it and missed the mark, missed the point? You feel what I'm saying?
Point justified. I understand what you're saying.
It's equality is the ambiguity of life. it is applicable to everything and nothing at all. Because once you start digging into the foundations of some specific thing, equality has to take a seat to this and that and the particulars of certain things, as Ramon alluded to, as Snow spoke on. There are particulars to everything, and when it comes to equality, it is subjective. It is subjective
and relative. It's a lot.
and relative.
It's a lot.
I thought we'd have more or to give you, but I really felt this. I really felt this topic would be engaging enough to us as the podcasters, and to you, the viewer and the listener, to get your wheels turning and get your mind flowing about society as a whole today. It's vastly different from 30 years ago, 40 years ago, 10 years ago. We have so much to
more to go.
Still
a long road.
And we have so many groups that exist nowadays. Again, BLM, LGBTQ, so many women's rights, so many people, and so many groups to deal with or when it comes to equality and so on and so forth. So I hope you guys love this particular segment. Again, this was very unorthodox. However, I think it was important to us and you, the viewers and listeners. Shout out you guys. Get in those comments. Engage. Well, I'm sending Snow after y'all. Yeah.
They get a pass for today, if you ask me. Way off our bar.
Yeah, yes and no, but whatever.
It's way off our bar because we did the whole episode about it. That's why I'm saying it's way off the bar.
Oh, yeah, we definitely went left. But sometimes our topics can be like that. You know what I'm saying? This is part of what this is our foundation. We would argue about this shit like this for hours. This could have went on so much longer.
Very true.
So much longer. So, listen, shout out you, the listeners and the viewers. Gentlemen, you have anything else?
No, I'm good.
So I guess this will be, we have now our topics for our next podcast. And our next podcast. I am the Kicks God, Ramon.
My name is Ramon.
Yo, we out of here, man. Until next time.